Hey, what's up guys, I'm Exterior, and in this video, I'm gonna teach you guys how to play one of the most simplest comps that does high amounts of damage, which is Bastion Snipers. Fair warning though, when you do play this comp, all the information here is made within the third day of PBE, so not everything here is gonna be perfect, but at least I give you guys a general idea of how to play this comp. And if you're watching this video when set 15 is live, do a little bit of research to see if this comp is still viable. Other than that, let's get into the conditions on how to play this comp. To start off, we should have at least a BF sword opener, because this allows us to make Spear Shojin or an Affinity Edge for our core items for Jinx and Varus. The ideal board you want to play is to have at least 2 Bastions and 2 Snipers on the board. So at least you have a general idea that you can force this comp very easily. There are different openers that I will show later in this video, but for the most part, the base idea is 2 Bastion, 2 Sniper. The fruits you want to put on early game, which is your power up, and if you don't know what that is basically the gimmick of this set, where we're given a fruit, and it's basically like choosing your anomaly. You can re-roll it if you want to, but it's up to you on how you use it. If you want to put it on a Sniper, the best early game one would be Medea's Touch. The reason why is because this allows you to farm. It's technically like in a collector, but without the additional stats to like AD and crit. It's just the effect part where you execute units at a certain amount of HP and you gain a chance to get gold on kills. Or you could just take any damage fruit, it's fine as well. And then for tanks, the best one to put in for early game would be Living Wall. This fruit is actually so powerful in general. It's basically core for your main tanks later. And what Living Wall does is for the amount of armor and magic resist you have on the unit, it will convert that into attack speed for the backline. So this means that your snipers or whatever you have in the backline is able to auto attack even more because we gain bonus attack speed stats. And on top of that, the tank unit themselves gains even more armor and magic resist. If not, you could just take any tank one or any health one. I would suggest health for early game if you can't get Living Wall. The best first augments you would want to take is either items or stat. And what I mean by stats is anything good for sniper damage or defensive augments such as healing, because healing your board will mean that your board will last longer for your snipers to do damage. For your items, the units you want to put it on would be either Jinx or Varus as your main carry. Either one's fine, but most of the time it will be Jinx since Varus is a 5-cost unit, and your main tank will be Leona. For Jinx and Varus' core item, they're both IE, so you can have a lot of damage since you want their ability to crit, and they actually have pretty big mana pools, so you want items to cast faster such as Shojin, which is the best in my opinion, or Gwinsu's Rage Blade. If you cannot build Shojin, this is fine as well. The items to flex around for Jinx would be Guardbreaker, and I know it's called something else now, but I'm gonna keep calling it Guardbreaker just because I'm OG. Giant Slayer or Deathblade. For Varus' flex items, it would be Guardbreaker, Red Buff, or Last Whisper. And to note here, if you already have Armor Break item on your tank, for example, Even Shroud on your Leona, then there's no need for Last Whisper. The best in slots for Jinx would be IE Shojin with Guardbreaker, and the best in slot for Varus would be IE Shojin with Red Buff. You could do Rage Blade if you want to as well, with Shojin and Rage Blade, so Varus could cast even faster, because the more he casts, the more damage he would do overall. But Red Buff is basically attack speed, and you also get anti-heal on the board, so this item is kind of the hybrid of Rage Blade with good base attack speed, but you also gain the benefits of anti-heal. And then your main tank, Leona, her core item is going to be an Even Shroud. If you don't have Last Whisper already, then you could just build Even Shroud. If not, you could build other items, but for the most part, you would need Sustain with Leona so she can last longer in fights. So it could be a Spirit's Visage or a Warmongs. Either one's fine, or you could do both. The items you can flex around could be like Steadfast Heart, Protector's Vow, or even a Crown Guard, so you can get rid of your rods if you have too many rods. Item components. Another item you could flex around too is if you don't have Red Buff or anti-heal, you could also build Sunfire if you want to on Leona, or just put on a secondary tank. The best in slot you can put on Leona would be like Even Shroud, Spirit's Visage, and Protector's Vow. And then for your artifact, on any sniper unit, basically Jinx and Varus, you could put Sniper's Focus over having a flex item, or you could do Collector. And then the trade out for Mana Zane would be any of your cast faster items, or you can replace it with a flex item. That's fine as well. For your tank artifacts, the best one I would say is Innervating Locket, just so Leona can heal more, or this item which I forgot is called, but it gives you a lot of armor and magic resist on the board. For your units, the opener I would say is to have 2 snipers, 2 Bastion, basically with Sivir and IE as the first item slam, because it's actually pretty powerful for sniper units to have. And second to that would be Gnar for the 2 snipers. And your 2 Bastions could be Rel and Garen as your main tank with Even Shroud. Or you could do Sunfire as first item slam too, or Warmongs, just whatever you can have. At level 5, you want to add an additional sniper, because you can play up to 3 sniper compared to having 3 Bastion. And then when you hit level 6, then you can take out the 1 sniper and you can just add 2 Bastions in. Or you can play your strongest board with 3 sniper and 3 Bastion, that's fine as well. Or 4 sniper and 2 Bastion. I'll visually show this after I talk about this part, which is your base board you can be playing, and you're still going to keep in the Garen and Rel because it fits your synergies later. The other Bastion units you want to use is Braum, and if you can't find Braum, you can use any budget Bastion unit. I would say Shen is probably like the best one to do because he's actually pretty tanky overall and he does decent amount of damage. Your main tank will be Leona with that Even Shroud, so you transfer from Garen to Leona with the items and the fruit. And same thing with the whole Sivir thing, just transfer the carry items to Jinx, since Jinx is going to be your main carry. Second to that, you're going to have a Varus in, but since Varus is a 5 cost unit. You can use a budget unit like Gnar, so you can get more attack speed for Jinx. And the other snipers would be Jhin and Caitlyn. Once you hit level 9, then you can throw in the Gnar or the Vars, whichever one's fine. Unless you cannot find Vars, then I guess you can throw in Sivir for the 5th sniper at level 9. Either one's up to you. Unless you don't want to play 5 sniper, or if for whatever reason you can have a +1 unit, these are the best to have on the board. Zyra is actually really powerful overall. Seraphine can buff Jinx a little bit more, or you can have TF in, since TF is just a decent AP unit overall. Now onto the team builder segment, just so you have a visual idea of how to play this comp. The other openers I can show here is having a Kalista, because she is a really good IE item holder. And since Kalista is a soul fighter, you're going to be playing on the Fury, since she's also a soul fighter with her. And the Fury is a Juggernaut unit, so you're going to need another Juggernaut unit like Aatrox. To make Kalista do extra damage, you're going to have to find a Katarina, but if you can't do that for the Executioner to gain a little bit of bonus damage for Kalista, it's fine. You don't really need her, to be honest. You can do a heavyweight unit like Zac, so you can have at least extra synergies on the board. Or you can do Kubuko, which is actually really great as well, because you also gain Mentor. And the Kubuko Mentor is you gain bonus 6% damage reduction. So this means that your board will last a little bit longer. And I forgot to mention, I probably should have said at this beginning, but we're going to indicate this Even Shroud as our main tank items and this IE as the main carry item. Another opener I can show here that would follow up with the Bastion Sniper route, and that is to have a Garen, and you want to put main tank items on him unless you have Rel level 2. But in my opinion, Garen is better in the long run because his ability heals every time he casts, and he actually does a lot of damage overall as well. For your backline unit, it could be Ezreal, and Ezreal is both AP and AD, so it's pretty good to have any items on him, such as IE, so you can have it as your main carry items later down the line to put on Jinx. And then for your second backline unit, you can throw in literally anything you want. You can throw in the Gnar to give extra attack speed to Ezreal, or if you want him to cast more, having Syndra for Prodigy helps a lot. Or if you just want to buff the board with a little bit more damage, you can do Katarina, so you can have that extra Academy unit on the board, so Garen and Ezreal could do extra damage. Or you could do Rakan, same thing, because it gives you 3 Academy. Now I'm going to show you guys the main opener, and the reason why it's important to learn the other 2 openers, or even other openers that you can find, is because if you gain level 2 units, it's more powerful to have that than just playing all level 1s of the base opener. And speaking of the base opener, it would be consisting of Garen as your main tank, because he's just a better tank than Rel, since Rel is just straight tank while Garen does damage. And for your backline units, it's going to be Sivir with the item holder of damage, which is IE, and Gnar is going to be your secondary backline unit with Sivir because he gives attack speed for your backline. From here, when you hit level 5, you can throw in a +1 sniper, like for example Jhin, or even better, you can throw out a Caitlyn, just whatever one you can find. But Caitlyn's actually really powerful since she does a lot of damage with her ability. Either one's fine though. I'll just show Jhin because he's a lower cost. And when you hit level 6, it's up to you from here if you want to play another Bastion unit. Crew's not really too important as an active trait, but it does buff Sivir a little bit, so it gives her a little bit more attack speed and it gives her a little bit more health, and the health also helps Shen a little bit. So it's up to you if you really want to prioritize having Crew in, and you can play this as well at level 6 if you want to, or if you want to be a little bit more powerful, say for example you find level 2 Shen, then you have another Bastion, then you can get rid of the Jhin and just throw in Din Zhao and you have better frontline. But if you have the level 2 Jhin instead, just keep the Jhin in. So basically what determines whether you want to play 4 Bastion or 3 Sniper just determines on the level of the units that you have on the board. If not, just use your judgment to see what is the better board to keep win streaking with. And then level 7 doesn't really matter too much because you can stay level 7 for about 2 rounds and you can just throw in another Bastion unit like Xin Zhao. But when we hit level 8, we want to roll down for the rest of our board, which that consists of having our backline as Jinx, and you want to transfer the fruit and item to Jinx as your main carry. And instead of having Sivir, I would prefer to have a Caitlyn, and you want to spread out your backline like this. Always put Gnar near your main carry because Gnar gives bonus attack speed to anyone next to him. Then for our front line, we're gonna have Leona as our main tank. Even if she's level 1, I still think she's better than having a level 2 Garen. And you just get rid of the Xin Zhao, and this will be basically it for your base board. Unless you can high roll into the upgrades like Braum instead of Shen, and somehow a Varus then a Gnar, then this is fine as well. But most of the time, you won't be able to play that. So I'm just gonna show it as Shen first and Gnar over the Braum and Varus. The main reason why this is actually so powerful level 8 is because sustain you, because you have Academy in, so it makes Leona a little bit more tankier, and Caitlyn does a little bit more damage. And the Rel is actually necessary for Jinx to have that active on Star Guardian, because Jinx's Star Guardian, which you can't really see here, is basically gives her bonus attack speed for every kill she gets. So anytime she gets a takedown, she gains a burst of attack speed to keep casting even more. And then when you hit level 9, then you just want to throw in your +1 sniper, which is Gnar. Or if you cannot find Varus yet, then you can just throw in the Sivir, which is fine. But if you want to do upgrades, it's going to be a Varus over the Sivir, and then just put Gnar closer to Jinx, because I prefer this kind of positioning, and I like putting Jhin around the middle here. And I would like this positioning just because it allows them to stay alive a little bit longer, Unless you're going against a Seraphine, then you want to do this kind of positioning so that her ball would hit mostly this clump on this side. But this means that you have to put your front line like this. And for your front line situation, for Braum, you kind of want to put him near the Leona for that even shroud. And on top of that, you kind of want to close him off so he doesn't die as easy because his ability is actually really good. The items you can put on Braum would be like bruiser items such as BT, Sterax, and Titans. These items are actually good on Braum overall, because Braum is a damage unit, not really a full tank unit. Even though he's a Bastion, he does a lot of damage overall with his execution. But that's if you have these extra components. Like BT is fine as well. It's just whatever you can put on him. Overall, there's really nothing more to say about this comp. This is basically about it. It's just flex around between your Bastions and your Snipers. For our fruits on Jinx, you can use any damage one, but I would say the best one is Annihilation, because Jinx is all about executing units. So when you execute a unit with Jinx, you gain bonus damage amp. So this means that you gain even more damage on Jinx. If not, you can do Classy as well, which is actually really good because it makes your sniper trait on Jinx do even more damage. So this means that when she casts her ulti, it hits even harder. And for Varus's case, if you have a Varus too, I would suggest to actually make him the main carry because you can get Doom Barrage if you have enough fruit removers, because this fruit is specifically designed for Varus and he's the only one that can take it, and he does so much damage with this fruit. Like, he just annihilate board pretty easily. For Leona, you can use any tank one or any HP one, but the best one would be Living Wall because it gives you extra armor and magic resist, which is actually really good for Leona, and it converts those armor and magic resist into more attack speed for your backline. So this means that your units such as Jinx and Varus or other snipers can do even more damage. For the augments that we want to take, the ones you want to auto-click, meaning if you see it, just take it. It's Precise Shot. This one allows you to buff your snipers even more. Same thing with Raid Boss. It will buff your Bastions even more. So these two are class augments. Pairs of Force is really powerful for Jinx, as you can be playing Leona and Jinx as your main carries, and they're both 4-class units, so therefore they gain bonus stat. Audit Shimmers is really good overall because you can gain Collectors, and Collectors is actually pretty decent to have on your snipers. Another one allows you to gain 2 IEs or 2 Shoujins. So before you slam an item, after you take this augment, be very careful on how you use it, because if you slam, for example, like a tank item like Warmongs, then you just get double Warmongs on the board, which is okay, but I would prefer to save it until you get both your IEs or both your Shoujin. And Coordination is good overall because it's a free item for one, and 2, it allows you to play +1 units, or you can cap out your board at level 8 even easier. Other augments that are pretty good is Radiant Relics to gain any Radiant item. Almost all of them are good besides AP ones. Big Grab Bag, same thing, more components, more items. Deadlier Blades is okay because you gain a Death Blade, and you also gain more damage. Whichever unit holds its items, they gain permanent AD stacks. If you need more swords, spears, bows is the way to go. And if you want to BS your items, Component Buffet is pretty decent for that. Good combat augments is like Second Wind, Spirit Link, or Noble Sacrifice for defensive stats, so you can get extra healing on the board, or Armor and Magic Resist for Noble Sacrifice's case. Speaking of healing, Healing Orbs is really good for a combat one. Same with Glass Cannon to gain extra damage on the board. For the augment power order, I like to do is item or econ as the first one. If not, you can do combat ones, okay? And the second is either more items or combat one, and your third augment should always be combat, so you can buff up your board. For our playstyle, I would prefer to do Win Streak, which is high tempo to fast 8. You can do Loose Streak if you want to, but I feel like this comp is strong enough that you could win streak pretty easily. In order to do that, at stage 2-1, you want to hit level 4, and in stage 2-3, always make intervals of 10 gold, 10, 20, 30 gold. And generally you should be doing this almost every round if you can. And the strat is here is if you have around like 14 gold, 24 gold, 34 gold, basically intervals of that, then you can pre-level to 5, which makes your XP look like this. The reason why you do this because when you come back from carousel round, you have a level 5 shop, you have a higher chance odds of better units, and potentially maybe gain a 4-cost unit like Jinx or a Leona at level 5 on stage 2-4. But you can skip this part if you really don't want to do it, or if you don't have enough gold to do so. You can just do it on stage 2-4 instead, hit level 5. The only difference is you just don't get the shop earlier compared to doing it at stage 2-4. And at stage 2-6 or like any time, just always make intervals of 10 gold again, 10, 20, 30 gold, so you can make more econ. Stage 3-2, hit level 6 so you can buff up your board. And then stage 3-7, hit level 7, or you can do this earlier whenever you want. Stage 4-2, or you can do this 4-1 if you have a lot of econ. Hit level 8 and then roll for your board. That's basically about it to play the base version of Fast 8. And that's it on how to play the easy comp with big amounts of damage, which is Bastion Snipers. If you have any question about this comp, or if you want me to cover a different comp, just say so in the comment section down below. Unless the comp is too complicated, because we don't have stats in PBE, I might not be able to make it because I don't want to give wrong info out there. Other than that, that's basically about it. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.